Okay, it's 1755. General Braddock has been mortally wounded. He's shot through the right arm and into the right lung. He's dying here with young George Washington, his hand on his shoulder. But there are all kinds of heroes of the American Revolution and American history here. There's General Gates and Gage, and there's Daniel Morgan, and there's even young Daniel Boone trying to get the horses under control. It's kind of a who's who of early colonial history. But this is the dark forest, the shades of death that the British redcoats feared so much. And it's here that French and their Indian allies are just pouring a murderous fire into the ranks of British troops in on the banks of the Monongahela River in 1755. This is right about where the Edgar Thomson works are, the great steel mill. Junius Brutus Sterne's view of Braddock's defeat. Now look at this one. Here we see young Washington. Remember, he's only about 24 years old. He's an aide-de-camp to Braddock. Braddock's taken the fatal hit there again in this one. He's a little younger in this view. And you see those frontiersmen, those Daniel Boone types, probably the Virginia Regiment or the Virginia Militia, and you see that great cloud of smoke in the dark forest because you can't really see your enemy. You know, it's just too dense with trees and smoke. But here we see George Washington sort of taking charge. He's no longer the callow youth that we saw in the Griffin painting. In Stearns' painting, he's already the heroic presidential type figure. Here's the French and Indian point of view of that same encounter. And here we see it's not just a dark forest with Indians lurking in the shadows. Here they are as heroic figures here, stopping in its tracks the British Empire in the forest here of western Pennsylvania, just 7 miles from the point. Braddock had 4 horses shot out from under him. Washington lost 2 horses shot out from under him and 4 bullets through his coat that day. I mean, bullets were just ripping through. His hat was shot off his head. And he said later on, "I felt the hand of Providence guided me that day." He couldn't figure out how he could be the only British officer to leave this battlefield unwounded. And he was. Now, of course, we're right in the city now. You have a choice here at the History Center. You could go to the 1950s, the 1850s, or the 1750s, but let's go this way. This is a William C. Wall painting from 1856. And here, imagine yourself on Bigelow Boulevard, coming around. This is the Allegheny River here. Here's the north side. There's Killbuck Island. Remember we talked about the island, about where Heinz Field is today? You can see the water flowing here. This is a Shawnee Indian village right over here. You can see the canoes gone across to the point here. And there you see Fort Duquesne. See that wisp of smoke coming up? You can even see a French flag flying over there. These warriors are coming around Bigelow Boulevard, and look, this is their first sight of the fort, and they're giving their war whoops, and they're holding up a captured British flag and some scalps. So this is the rest of the story after Braddock's defeat. These are the warriors coming back to announce their victory. This is Fort Duquesne, one of the captives from the battle on Grant's Hill. And you can see, here's Mount Washington, here are these warriors. They've just captured this guy and saying, who gets him, you know? And he and some of his friends are going to be tortured to death tonight across the river about where Heinz Field is today on Killbuck Island. Post is the white trader there, King Beaver of the Delawares. And you can see some traditional housing here. And you can also see Fort Duquesne taking shape across the river at the point. Here we see Mount Washington in the background. This is the north side over here, and here's Fort Duquesne. Here's Fort Pitt taking shape. So the French have abandoned Fort Duquesne by 1758, and the British start building the most substantial earthwork and fort in North America at that time.